JYP is a gourmet restaurant for people with deeper wallets. Cube is a Red Lobster, accessible enough for the average person to visit for lunch, but not quite as cheap as something like McDonald's. So I've been following Lightsum for quite some time now. I've been here since pretty much the beginning, and hell, I even named my channel after them. From the teaser photos of the members to the group debut trailer, my critique of their career so far is coming from someone who didn't give a shit about Produce 48, mainly because I don't like survival shows, but that's a discussion for another day. So what I'm about to say in this video is not coming from anyone who has a bias towards any of the members, and especially not someone who has a bias of Cube. So first, let me address the big ass elephant in the room before we truly get to the meat of things. Cube, as a company, has made some questionable decisions in the past when it comes to their groups. And no, this video will not be another fuck Cube dissertation. There are already plenty of those floating around on YouTube, and I have no intent of adding to the saturated discourse. It's honestly time for someone to share a bit of a different opinion. And no, this video also won't be one of me defending Cube for any of their shortcomings. They have fucked up a lot of shit, as have many companies when it comes to their artists. But I've always liked to play devil's advocate and see every situation from all sides, rather than just settling on one very popular opinion based on very little evidence, just because a bunch of disgruntled stans on Twitter are so gung-ho to blame someone for something that they always decide to witch hunt the easiest targets. At the end of the day, none of us truly know what the fuck we're talking about anyway. We're all just a bunch of random people on the internet spouting random opinions, standing on the outside looking in. None of these companies give a shit about our opinions, but it's always going to be fun to talk about nonetheless. So this video is meant to be an introspective, recapping Lightsum's short career, then going through all of the pros and cons, before finally offering advice on where they could go next following their most recent comeback and the sudden member lineup change. Other than the things I have direct proof of, I state nothing in this video with any certainty. It's mostly just pure speculation based off of what I've seen with my own eyes and not read from someone else's timeline. I have no intent to be negative, mainly because I'm not a very negative person. I'm just another random fan with some mild concerns and constructive criticism. With that being said, let's get on to the video. Though I said I wouldn't focus so much on Cube in this video, it's impossible to address the management and promotion of a group without mentioning the company behind them. So I'll give a quick rundown of how I feel about Cube's past groups, and I'll make it quick so we can move on. 4 Minute was a cultural reset. B2B is a talent trove of vocal kings. Pentagon, in my opinion, are the real concept kings, spiritual successors to my second-gen messiahs, Bix. I-DLE are S-tier icons with a very bright future ahead of them. And CLC was an unfortunate tragedy that certainly deserved better from pretty much everyone. Then we have Lightsum, the fresh new bundle of high-energy youth and chaos bursting with talent and charisma, just waiting for their big breakout moment. The team originally consisted of 8 members: Juyeon, Hina, Sangha, Jian, Nayoung, Yoojung, Hweon, and Chowan. They debuted in June 2021 with the debut single album, Vanilla. It was met with little fanfare, but decent album sales. Vanilla garnered over 2.7 million views and 151,000 likes on YouTube in the first 24 hours, and broke the record for the most viewed music video by a 2021 female rookie group in the first 24 hours at the time of its release. According to the US Billboard chart released on the 22nd of June 2021, Lightsum's debut single Vanilla also ranked 8th on the World Digital Song Sales chart. For the most part, their whole debut rollout was average, but certainly not bad. Some people vibe with Vanilla, others said it was a decent debut, but nothing too memorable, especially alongside so many other 4th gen groups who were dominating the block throughout 2021 and 2022. So, needless to say, Lightsum had a very slow start in their uphill battle towards success. It's clear that they simply weren't able to capture lightning in a bottle quite as fast as their senior group, I-DLE, who had come out the gate swinging with La Ta Ta in 2018. One factor to explain why is something that they, and not even Cube, has any control over. Unfortunately, what they didn't have at the time of debut was something that many other girl groups did, and this was a little thing called luck. Now I know people don't like to hear this, but sometimes talent just isn't enough. So many groups fall to the wayside despite having nothing but talent and still end up disbanding, with few people ever even knowing that they ever existed. In the last year alone, over 50 groups debuted, and I'm willing to bet that more than half of these groups either already disbanded or will be disbanded by the time you're finished watching this video. It's a sad reality that the K-pop industry is cutthroat. You want to be on top? Well, sometimes you don't have any real control over if or when that ever happens, no matter how much talent and hard work you put into it. It sucks, and I hate seeing it, but unless you happen to be part of the lucky few who debut within the Big Four, it's kind of how things work. I've gotten into so many smaller groups that have disintegrated and vanished due to their lack of success that I've completely closed myself off to them now, out of fear that I'll wake up one day to find an article announcing their sudden disbandment. I can't do it anymore, and I praise the people out there who still somehow attach themselves to that type of uncertainty as a fan. Standing a small group is honestly like adopting a puppy, feeding it, watching it grow, and fully immersing yourself into its life, only to one day find it dead in your backyard after just 2 years. It's honestly heartbreaking, and I see why so many fans of these smaller groups are so bitter. You want to see your fave succeed. You always want the underdog to come out on top no matter the obstacles. So when that doesn't happen, it's depressing. I get it. But where you go wrong is in ignoring the reality of the industry in favor of falling prey to your own victim mentality and defeatist narrative. Not every group is going to be successful instantly. Some need time. Others won't ever be successful. And a company can only push a group with all its might and muscle in the world, but sometimes nothing ever comes from it. So let's circle back around to Lightsum. I have no doubt that this group has all the talent and charisma to set the whole damn world on fire. Sungha is a fierce, charismatic beast on stage, a full package rapper and dancer with decent enough vocals to even out her well-rounded skill set. Chowon has vocals that rival some of the best 4th and 3rd gen main vocalists, inactive or otherwise. Juyeon is hands down one of, if not the best female main dancers in 4th gen as of now. Nayeon is a variety queen just waiting to blossom, not to mention a promising young visual with strong vocals of her own. Yoojung is probably one of the most adorable idols I've ever seen, with amazing stage presence that makes her fan cams pretty enjoyable to watch. Hina gives me super strong Sana vibes, and no, it's not because they're both Japanese. They just both have this natural, lovable, and adorable personality that easily captures the heart. If any cards are played right, she could be a major heavy hitter once Lightsum starts trying to build a Japanese fan base. As for Huiyeon and Jian, well, we'll get to them a little later on. To sum it up, they each have a certain something that makes it clear why they were chosen for the group. And anyone that claims otherwise clearly hasn't dove deep into any of their group content, nor have they seen any of their live stages or the immense amount of dance covers they put out so far. So by now you might be asking, why aren't they a bigger group? And trust me, I have once asked this question too. But I believe that I might have some sort of an explanation. Like I said, talent isn't a guarantee of anything. And no, you can't put all of this on Cube's questionable management tactics. What Lightsum lacks, in my opinion, is something that they have no control over. Luck, timing, and that one special song. I liked Vanilla. It was nothing big or fancy, but it still held my ear long enough to get me to pay attention. I liked the fusion of cute and girl crush with that hard EDM beat drop in the chorus. The girls were cute, their choreography was intricate and fun to watch, and the music video was serviceable. It could have been better, but a bigger budget music video doesn't guarantee a damn thing either. Nor does a smaller budget hinder success. Look at Pixie's music video for Bewitched. There were only 2 outside locations in that entire video, and not a single thing was lacking with the production. Their company is obviously much smaller and had to work with what they had considering the budgetary restraints. And the results were great. Bewitched is an amazing song, and the cheaper music video does not take away from that. Anyone claiming that a larger budget music video would somehow have skyrocketed Lightsum into instant fame is delusional and almost disrespectful to groups who don't have the money for these big productions, but still manage to pull off great presentations. The vanilla music video wasn't the problem. Again, it was nothing outstanding, but still not awful. I'd describe the song as safe, though you can tell that the producer and Cube was willing to do a little experimentation with their sound to keep the song from coming off sounding too generic with that hard EDM beat switch mid-chorus. Others might disagree with me here, but whatever, it's just my opinion. That EDM chorus beat drop was the one thing that kept the song from falling into total obscurity for me. Not only did it catch me off guard in a really good way, it was loud, energetic, and bright, which is the concept and image that a group with the name Lightsum should be sticking with. You can't be putting some dark dreamcatcher pixie horror pop with a group that literally has a word that means the exact opposite of dark in their name. So, from their name alone, I sincerely hope that Cube intends on keeping them in the bubblegum electropop territory, to probably follow in the footsteps of groups like Twice or even early Oh My Girl. So I don't believe that Lightsum's concept is the problem here, but the execution of said concept might need a little more work. As a debut, Vanilla, you were cute and you put me in a good mood. I wouldn't skip you if you came on shuffle, but you didn't quite stand out as much as you could have. And though I didn't add Vanilla to my Spotify playlist, I definitely set my ass up and told myself to be around for their first comeback, which leads us to... But wait, we gotta circle back around a bit and dive further into the inner workings of the group to get a full read on what's going right with Lightsum and what's going wrong. I know people want to shit on Cube for everything from here to heaven and hell. And though some of that hatred is warranted, y'all need to stop acting like Cube is the absolute worst company in the industry. If you seriously believe that, then I'm sure that TS, Spire, and BBC would love to talk to you. They'd have no problem changing your mind. And no, I'm not telling you to put away your pitchforks just yet. I'm only requesting that you lower them a little bit and hear me out. Cube pushed Lightsum full force last year, about as hard as they could given the shitty circumstances. They rolled the girls out with a beautiful group debut trailer, several unit, individual member teasers. We got dance covers, song covers, individual member introductions and interviews, 2 1-Decay unit covers, and even a little media play trying to milk the Chowon Produce 48 situation. This is more than what they've done for some of their other groups. As far as I can remember, I-DLE, their current most successful girl group, did not get any of this. It honestly felt like I-DLE just came out of nowhere, broke into my house, and sat their asses down on my couch, then refused to leave. They are still living rent-free on my playlists and album shelves as we speak. Pre-debut I-DLE got a couple busking videos, 1 audio teaser for each member prior to La Tata, an audio snippet for the first mini-album I Am, some Dingo featurettes, and that's about it. If you want to count Unpretty Rap Star for Soyeon, fine, but Unpretty Rap Star is nothing compared to the star power machine of the Produce series that featured Chowon, Yoojung, and Nayeon. And yes, Soyeon was on Produce 101 before them, but she didn't gather nearly as much steam and popularity as Chowon did on Produce 48. In fact, I'm pretty sure that Soyeon was eliminated very early on, whereas Chowon would have literally debuted in IZ*ONE had Mnet not fucked her over. Even Eunbin from CLC was more popular than Soyeon on Produce 101, and she lasted far longer on the show. I can't say that either of these programs did a whole lot to promote Soyeon as being the musical talent she's known for being today, especially when so much of her screen time was spent with people caring more about her looks than her talent. Nevertheless, La Tata was all over my timeline and recommended feeds in 2018. Though La Tata charted low upon release, it randomly started to rise up the charts shortly after their debut stage. Everybody, their mamas and uncles were hyping I-DLE like they were the next big thing. A lot of I-DLE's successes were based mostly on word of mouth, luck, and good timing. Of course, talent was at play here, but 2018 was also the breakout year for the Hallyu Wave internationally. Many marked this as the official start of the 4th gen, so the excitement for what new groups were predicted to bring in was at a feverish high. If you were a K-pop group that debuted that year, you were at an advantageous position that forced people to sit up and take notice. BTS was opening doors to the outside world, and so many K-pop groups were able to walk right on out behind them. At the time, though the market was almost saturated as it is now, very few groups outside of the Big Four managed to stand out from the rest of the noise around them. If you managed to do anything even slightly outside of the norm of your peers, you had millions of eyes and ears ready to consume, and I-DLE was standing on the doorsteps with their hands open, catching stands left and right. People were raving over their stage presence, their distinctive vocal colors, and their charismatic variety personalities. Latata was a standout debut, but if we're being honest, it was also a very safe song. Especially when you compare it to some of their later, more riskier title tracks. I'll tell you this right now, and you can argue with me all you want, but if I-DLE had debuted with Oh My God and followed up with something like Hwa or Tomboy, we probably wouldn't even be having this conversation. In fact, what Latata had in common with Vanilla is that both songs were very safe, and I can see the logic behind both releases. The only reason I-DLE got the privilege of releasing title tracks like Tomboy and Oh My God is because they started off safe with Latata, long after they had managed to secure a loyal fan base. Anyone criticizing Cube's decision to release Vanilla because it's too safe is clearly not reading the situation very well. Say whatever the hell you want about company privilege, but Cube is nowhere near as high up the industry totem pole as JYP, SM, or YG, regardless of how well known and successful many of their second-gen groups were. Neither I-DLE nor Lightsum would have been able to debut with something like NMIXX's OO and walk away with their heads held high, because they would have flopped really hard. No ifs, ands, or buts about it. Cube just doesn't have the clout many people think they do, and I'm honestly not sure if they ever did. Their most successful group to date, Beast, hasn't been with the company in years, and yet they were still their most successful and highest selling group until I-DLE came along. Cube's second best-selling boy group, B2B, had to work their way up the ladder to earn the prestige that they have today, only finally achieving mainstream success with the song Missing You. This was 6 years after their debut. Then there's Pentagon, who only recently begun to reach mainstream success after getting their first win with the song Daisy, 4 years after their debut. And CLC didn't get their first win until nearly 5 years after debut. Clearly, Beast's success did not translate very much success to Cube's other groups. If Cube were JYP, then this would be a different story. There is no way you can't say that ITZY's success wasn't a direct correlation to them having very popular singers like Twice, Miss A, and Wonder Girls. This isn't said to diminish any of ITZY's success because they do deserve every ounce of success that they have, but it would be delusional to deny the privilege that came with them debuting under JYP. In my opinion, the best way to judge whether a company has enough prestige to benefit from the privilege of success from all of their rookie artists is for them to have a consistent string of instantly successful senior groups. And Cube's groups have a pattern of enduring slow and steady climbs upward rather than being instant smash hits. I-DLE was the exception, not the rule. Let's look at it this way. By comparison, JYP is a gourmet restaurant for people with deeper wallets. Cube is a Red Lobster, accessible enough for the average person to visit for lunch, but not quite as cheap as something like McDonald's. At one point, they were damn near verging on being downgraded to a Marie Callender microwavable dinner. Them releasing Vanilla, despite its safe sound, probably made sense to them at the time. Cube couldn't debut Lightsum with anything too close to I-DLE's concept, with an edgy or moody feel to it, and risk the concepts clashing. They couldn't go down the route of Girl Crush or Dark because far too many 4th-gen girl groups were already treading down that path. And obviously they couldn't do a mature concept because half of the members in Lightsum were underage at the time. Lightsum's choice of concepts were limited to cute, high teen, or teen crush. It seems that Cube went with the fusion of all three, and boom, Vanilla was born as the red-headed stepchild of Like Ooh Ah, Stereotype, and Dalla Dalla. A light, bright, cute, and serviceable debut track that they pushed onto the masses and hoped for the best. From here, Cube had all the right ingredients to make Lightsum work. They put in some true muscle and pushed the absolute shit out of them in 2021. So I repeat, yes, Cube does stupid shit, like all companies do. And no, I'm not telling you to forgive them, Cheshires, because they don't deserve to be forgiven for whatever that shit show was. I'm not even telling you to get on your knees and praise them for a goddamn thing. All I'm asking is for you to shit on them for things they actually do wrong intentionally. Offenses we actually have proof of. Yes, they fucked over CLC. Yes, they might have fucked Sujin over too. I don't know. I wasn't in the boardroom meeting when any of those decisions were made. Yes, they could have handled the Edan Hyuna situation better. And yes, they definitely need a new PR team because their current one sucks hot ass. But no, they are not trying to purposely sabotage Lightsum or any of their groups. No, they don't want them to fail. Nor is the current state of Lightsum's stagnant career irreversible. They are a rookie group with less than 2 years under their belt. They still have plenty of time to break out. Just because a group isn't instantly popping out odd numbers does not mean that they are failures. So stop wishing doom and gloom on this group because of your own personal biases against Cube. Yes, the company sucks sometimes, and I'll be the first person to shout that from the highest rooftop anytime they fuck something up. But let's calm the hell down and stop claiming that every decision they make is the wrong one. No one knows what the wrong decision is until after they've seen the results of said decision. If Vanilla had been a massive hit, racked up 500K plus album sales, gotten 17 music show wins, and collected bracks and packs left and right, no one would be clowning Q for their awful decisions as hard as they did after Vanilla failed to chart. Let's choose to hate on Q for things that they've intentionally done wrong, such as with the Elkie situation. Not for things that they may do wrong in the future, or for things that you perceive them to have done wrong. B2B and Pentagon needed years to pick up steam to get to where they are now. I-DLE had luck and great timing. Lightsum wasn't as fortunate and got off to a rough start. Vanilla was mid, but it had a great foundation for the group to build on. Something that they could use to kickstart them into nailing down a sound that could have been unique to them. But it's what they did after Vanilla that may have shifted the tide for them in the worst way.